Welcome aboard the National Geographic Sea Bird for our journey along the Columbia and Snake Rivers. This is a great trip because we get to visit such different ecosystems here. We get to experience a high desert as well as a temperate rainforest. We're going to be learning about the ecology, the geology, and the history and the culture of the region. We're using our awesome ship, the National Geographic Sea Bird, as a base camp for this exploration. We have a fleet of 5 Zodiacs that we'll use to get ourselves closer to the shore. And we'll also be hiking through the deserts and the forests. And autumn is the best time to visit this area because the harvests are coming in. The landscape is changing colors. You have these beautiful shades of orange and yellow and red. And we're so happy that you've joined us for this journey. And once again, welcome aboard.
Today we're exploring Hell's Canyon on jet boats. We are in one of the most rugged, remote, and scenic canyons in the United States. It is deeper even than the Grand Canyon. We see a lot of wildlife here in the canyon, and today we've had some good looks at Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. There's also a fascinating geology story here. We're in what's called accreted terrain, terrains that came in on the Pacific Plate and squashed onto the side of the continent. The Snake River then over millions of years carved its way down through all of this material to make this deep, deep canyon. This is a very exciting wild river, and the jet boats are the best way to have a good look at all of this.
Today we are at the Palouse Falls, and this is within the Scablands. And the Scablands is one of our amazing, massive geological land formations within the United States. Ancient history, we had tectonic activity that caused basaltic flows. So imagine magma coming up to the surface into lava and flowing across the country heading west. And that produced this erosion-resistant rock. Then, more recently, only 15,000 years ago, we had Ice Age floods. the equivalent, the estimated equivalent water volume of both Ontario and Lake Erie was released. Not only water, but all of the forest, the grassland, the topsoil, the rocks, massive boulders came washing down into what was equivalent to a massive power wash of the land. We will continue to see the signs of this dramatic geological story as we head west on the Snake and Columbia rivers.
Last night we left the Snake River and entered the Columbia River. This morning we woke up in McNary Lock, one of 8 locks we'll pass through on the trip downriver. After breakfast we landed at Crow Butte Park and set out on some hikes across the sagebrush steppe. This is Crow Butte. Crow Butte. So if you look directly the way I'm standing, this is due south, and you can just see the outlines of the Blue Mountains. It's a little hazy this morning. Some of this is dust and maybe some smoke. I see some burning going on. In Washington State, most farmers are not allowed to burn their fields because of air quality issues, but in Oregon, they're allowed to do that. And you see some fires burning there into the southeast. But if you look to my left, that's upstream on the Columbia River, so headed east. We came down there this morning and docked here, or anchored in Crow Butte State Park. If you look downriver, that's the way we're going to be headed, west. And on this side of the river, we have Oregon State. On this side, we're in Washington. So the Columbia River forms the border between Oregon and Washington. So there's a lot going on here, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get back down. But there's energy going on here. We have the railway. So we also have wind turbines. If you look just downriver to the west, you can see just the outline of wind turbines. We're going to see a lot more of those as we go downriver, and that's part of the wind and hydro connection. And then just downriver a little bit, we have the port of Morrow, and that's a huge food processing hub. So as we go past there, you'll see a huge amount of activity. So this is a food processing center as well. All this agriculture gets sent there and processed and then is exported. But there's a lot going on in this area. I think it's fascinating. You don't really see it, but there's energy, there's water transfers going on, there's wind, there's food processing, there's agriculture, there's groundwater issues. And So a lot going on in this area that you wouldn't otherwise see. We finished our day with a transit of John Day Lock. Once we enter the lock chamber and tie up, we'll be lowered by gravity more than 100 feet to continue our journey down the Columbia River.
Clark wrote about watching the natives in the spring collect these as they started to come up, these flower buds, and eat them for food. But the other thing is this plant, arrowleaf balsam root, has big tuberous roots. The plant can live upwards of 100 years plus. So you could, so think about that and the core of discovery coming down this river. Some of these plants could have been little seedlings when the core came down the river in 1805.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
We're here this morning on a piece of the restored historic Columbia River Highway. We're right in the middle of the transition between the desert steppe, the arid east side of the Cascades, and the forests of the west side of the Cascades. Yesterday, our walks had us surrounded by sagebrush and rabbit brush. Today, our walks have us surrounded by bigleaf maple, ponderosa pine, and Douglas fir. As we head west towards the Pacific, we're going to have increasing moisture and subsequently increasing vegetation and more trees and thicker forests.
We're climbing Beacon Rock this morning, just over 800 feet on a trail going a mile up to the top. This rock was named by Lewis and Clark in the fall of 1805 as Beaton Rock. Today it is Beacon Rock, just below Bonneville Lock and Dam. The Biddle family actually owned this rock. This is one of the ancestors of the first editor of the Lewis and Clark journals. Henry Biddle owned this rock at one point in time, and when he died, his heirs offered it to the state of Washington as a park, which they declined, and so they offered it to the state of Oregon as a state park. Oregon was pretty excited about that, but Washington ended up taking it, and today we are enjoying the Washington State Park of Beacon Rock. Look great, but then I'm going to do a panorama and I'm going to have that backdrop. Yeah, so here we go. Now don't talk because it'll give you two mouths. All right.
We're exploring the Hood River Valley this afternoon, and it's an area that is well known for its orchards. To get at the root of that, you're looking at a lot of the geology and the soil development here, and it facilitates, along with the climate, the growth of various types of fruit trees in the orchards. We started our afternoon here at Draper Girls Farm, and it's a wonderful farm market stand. And as you can see, we've got peach trees behind us, it's apple trees, pears, all kinds of fruits and vegetables in the store. And it's a very interesting place in what they're selling here and some of the products that they're making with the fruits. The amounts of jams and salsas here is just overwhelming, really a culinary delight. We're visiting the Wham Museum as well, which is an extensive collection of automobiles and airplanes from the past. A little bit of something for everyone as far as their historic age range.
It's been such a great trip this week. We've traveled 470 nautical miles along two of the great rivers of the West. We've seen waterfalls, wildlife, deserts, forests, cities, and tons of wide open spaces. We are so happy that you have joined us on this journey, and we can't wait to have you with us again on another ship in another part of the world.